Welcome to Defence Connect's The Progress Report, the show spotlighting the women shaping Australia's defence and national security.
Welcome to Defence Connect's The Progress Report, the podcast where we explore the stories, careers and experiences of women working across Australia's defence and national security sectors. I'm your host, Tash Taylor, and in each episode I'm sitting down with industry professionals to talk about their journeys, personal growth, mentorship, and what it really takes to build a meaningful career in one of the country's most complex and essential industries. My amazing guest today is Georgia Davey, Program Manager for NORSTA Maritime. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Georgia.
No problems. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to hear that. And look, for those of you listening, Georgia was an incredible finalist for our Australian Defence Industry Awards this year in the Female Defence Leader of the Year SME category. So that in itself is incredible because it is such a competitive category. So I'd love to know a little bit about your experience. Was it expected? Was it a big surprise? Have you gone into the awards before?
I have, across my career, been through a number of different awards and bits and pieces. I was actually planning on having a down year this year and just
Going with the flow and
getting on with work.
Yeah.
I was anonymously put forward for the women's category.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we had to pull together a submission like
nice and fast.
quite last minute. So I was pulling things from, previous submissions out of the drawers and, seeing what my notes held and bits and pieces like that. So it was quite pleasing to be a finalist. It was a bit of an honour. NORSTA itself, which is a brand new organisation, was a finalist in its category as well.
That was the Maritime.
Correct,
Yep.
yeah. So it was fantastic to be in Canberra and celebrate with all the different people from across defence industry and, rub shoulders and shake hands and see who got to their moment in the spotlight.
Exactly. Honestly, it's my favourite night of the year in terms of awards evenings because it's just so much fun. I mean, this year we even had because obviously CommBank were the principal partners. We tried to do our CommBank themed cocktails, which were yellow. So it's just those little things, that are really fun. You get to see everyone in the industry, catch up with everyone. And because you don't always get to catch up in that sort of capacity, do you?
No.
You often see each other at, different types of events, whether it be a conference, summit, luncheon, that type of thing. It's not often you get to go and have a dance floor too.
No, and passing each other in the hallways of, Brindabella and places like that.
Exactly.
Keep up the good fight.
Exactly. No, and look, I'm so glad to hear that you were super happy about becoming a finalist. That in itself, it is a huge achievement. And again, this year, which is amazing, because I like to keep track of how many women are going into these awards programs. We have heaps.
Yes.
We've got so many women going for these, and we only have, 2 women's categories. So they're very, very, it's hard to become a finalist in when you say only 10 people get to be. And, you have, 20, 40, 50, 60 people going in for these categories. Some categories on a particular events get, a couple hundred people going in for it. So it's very awesome achievement.
Thank you.
No, that's all good. Now, look, I would love to jump in and know a little bit more about your career path because it does sound like, I know from our previous conversation, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. So I'd love you to walk the audience through it.
Sure. So I was one of the many kids who had no idea what they wanted to do when I finished school. I took a gap year and flip-flopped around and did a bit of this and that. I decided that I would be a pilot out of school.
Okay.
So off I trotted to university. I got a Bachelor of Science in Aviation. I secured a commercial pilot's license and I hopped on a plane to the north of the country and worked as a commercial pilot for a few years. I loved it. Aviation is amazing. The industry has its pros and cons, of course, like anything.
Yeah.
One of which is the requirement to have a medical every 5 minutes, and my hearing started to go.
Okay.
So the writing was on the wall there, and I sort of fell into defence industry after that. I worked for an organisation called BAE.
Yep. Yeah, those guys.
Who thought having a Bachelor of Science in Aviation might come in handy at some point in the future. I actually went on to a logistics contract that they had at the time, which they promptly lost. And I ended up staying on the logistics contract with the new incumbent. So I did all kinds of weird and wonderful things within defence industry after that. So I've done logistics, I've done explosives, I've done infrastructure projects of all shape and kind, from digging holes to refurbishments, electrical projects, back to aviation consulting, back to explosives consulting.
Yeah.
All kinds of.
You've been around the block in terms of defence and aviation industry.
Yeah. And I've been very fortunate to have all those different experiences, and things that I never thought would come in handy have subsequently come full circle, and I find myself doing pieces of work on things that I'd previously had a hand at. So I'm currently, as you said, the program manager for NORSTA Maritime. We have the contract in Darwin and Cairns to provide all of the maintenance services for the home ported and visiting vessels for defence. So I'm doing boats at the moment.
Very cool. I love that. I love it. I love how you've seen so many different areas of the industry. Going back to you actually picking aviation, do you have someone in the family that was a pilot and that's what sort of sent you on that path? Or is it, you were in high school and you're like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going to do that?
So I grew up in a small country town in northwest WA. A lot of times to get in or out of places you have to fly.
Yeah.
And I remember looking down and I was like, geez, this is a good time up here, seeing the sights from this angle. And that kind of inspired me to have a look, I guess. I put in for the Air Force and they did want me, but I wasn't quite prepared to sign up to the return of service at the time.
Yeah, okay.
So I thought I'd go and have a crack on Civvy Street first, and it ended up going the way it did. So like I said, flying is amazing. Looking at the world from that angle is second to none in my opinion. I do miss that, particularly in Northern Australia. There are some beautiful coastlines and landscapes and weather that you can get around.
Gorgeous area. I guess it's also that just sense of adventure. I'm sure being able to fly around the world or fly around the country, you must have just amazing sense of adventure and freedom just to be able to fly away.
Yes. And subsequently get stuck in some interesting and very remote places.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. Look, jumping back to, I guess, more to do with, your career in recent years, I'd love to know if you could share your experience as a woman working in defence or construction, especially in those more niche areas like electro-optics or maritime. What drew you to those specialised fields?
So nothing in particular, I guess.
Yep.
I've always been the kind of person that's like, I'll give it a go.
Why not give it a crack?
And I found across my career, a lot of times I've looked at a job or been interviewed for a job or been asked to have a look at X, Y, and Z, because I have X, Y, and Z on my CV, and then once I get into the role, the ABCs and the DEFs and all the rest of that kind of thing kind of flesh out. I've been very fortunate or unfortunate, as the case might be, depending where you're sitting, to be the only woman in the room a lot of the time, particularly those niche spaces, so explosives, maritime, aviation, a lot of those spaces are still male dominated.
Yeah.
Construction as well. Those women are coming through, but a lot of time they don't make it into either the quiet SME roles or high enough up the chain, or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So they kind of divert off left and right here and there, and kind of disappear. Now, for the most part, that's fine. I've had some challenges. I've run into some biases.
Yeah.
I've had some crappy situations, but I don't think that is unique necessarily to male-dominated fields. There's plenty of that kind of thing that you can
100%.
get for free on the street. And I've had amazing female role models, but I've also had amazing male role models. So I like to think that, for every lady or Indigenous person or disabled or whatever, those underrepresented groups, for each person that is stepping up or into a space where they haven't been before, they're opening the door for others to follow. So that's kind of my mantra. I sort of I'll get into the space and then I'll hold the door open.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Others can come through.
Absolutely. And look, how do you think that you navigated at times in your career where you have been the only woman in the room and you've sort of felt, I guess, did you ever feel like the pressure was on, and how did you navigate that?
I have definitely felt pressure at times, either to be perfect, or to prove that I can do it just as good, if not better. So there's definitely been scenarios where that's been the case, but I think with experience comes maturity.
Yeah.
So you get a few runs on the board and you're like, oh, okay, I don't need to make those mistakes again. I don't need to go out of my way to demonstrate that I'm better than everybody else just because I'm a woman or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just about maturing and bringing your best self to the job and acknowledging that everybody, male, female, or otherwise, is going to bring different skill sets to the space.
Absolutely. And I fully agree with that. And that's something that's been touched on quite a few times in the podcast from different guests, is that at the end of the day, most people get some level of imposter syndrome at some point in their career, but also everyone brings different skill sets to the table. And I feel like, whether you're a male, female, we all bring something to the table. And that's why it's so important to have a balance of people, of who's in your team in terms of representation, because you want to have all those different opinions, all those amazing skill sets to sort of help drive your business.
That's right. I'm a huge believer in diverse teams.
Yep.
I go out of my way to, where possible, drive not just the 50-50 ideal, but making sure that there's space to train up different people for different roles and give everybody the opportunity to crack a new space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I'd love to know, because I haven't had anyone here that's worked really in defence construction. So you've worked across both maritime and construction. How do they compare? And little standout quirks, because obviously maritime, your job site can literally sail away.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Please tell me about both.
Yeah. So construction in defence comes with a lot of idiosyncrasies, I guess. Defence is a unique beast in terms of their paperwork requirements, their frameworks. Their operational needs are very different to say, knocking up a standard office building. So definitely challenges there, things to figure out, problems to solve, and I really enjoy solving problems.
Yep.
Trying to balance preserving the heritage elements of a 1940s building that survived the bombing of Darwin, versus
Wow,
trying
okay.
to make said building meet current day sustainability standards and current day security standards and current day fire safety standards, so, which, fundamentally don't really match up. So that's
finding a balance.
finding a balance and, sitting down with stakeholders and both sides of the fence. So the civvy stakeholders, the building certifiers and all those kinds of folks, architects and all those people versus, defence.
Yep.
Whether it's the end user, the security specialists, the maintainers, whatever the case might be, and bringing everybody together and being like, right, here's what we can achieve, here's what we can't achieve, here's where we need a waiver, whatever the case might be. With maritime, I guess there's just a whole new layer of complexity. So construction, obviously very much, for the most part, fixed assets. You know what your conditions are. Usually you empty out the building or the space of any end users and you get on with it. Maritime ships are different. The maintenance periods that are divvied up into, bring the boat out of the water and taking control of the vessel, if you like, versus maintenance periods that are done alongside in the water, having a ship that might be force assigned. So yes, you've got tradies on there, doing bits and pieces, but they've got a hard limit. You need to be off the boat if we need to sail in an hour, in 2, in 3.
Yep.
So those kinds of time pressures really, they up the ante in terms of managing the work. You also have a different mix of trades folks. So construction, you've got your traditional chippies, electricians, fridgies, all that kind of stuff. On boats, you've still got chippies, you've still got fridgies, but they're different. They're maritime, bent.
Specific, yeah.
And then you have a whole new set of tradespeople, welders and fabricators and shipwrights, naval architects, and all these kinds of things. And you've got a whole new layer of complexity for stakeholders. So you've got not just the ship's crew, you've got, engineering authorities, you've got the systems program officers, you've got in the north you've got patrol boat group who really are in charge of making sure that the north of Australia is covered in terms of operational readiness for the Navy. So you've got all these competing priorities that you need to manage, as well as managing, getting your trades folks onto the boats and getting the work done.
So you're pretty much like the middleman in these sort of situations so how many people do you think that you'll end up like managing through these processes? Because and when it comes to the tradies, I'm assuming that's literally like you've just rattled off, like, whether it's the builders, welders, the electricians. If you're organising all that, how many people in your little ecosystem are you managing?
In our little ecosystem, so last year we had 9 vessels home ported in Darwin. Yeah. And we did work on an additional 6 visiting vessels. So we had around 1,100.
Oh my God.
Trades folks on our safety management system inducted. Now, obviously, they're rarely on site all at the same time. Yeah. So, about 1,100 to 1,500 people coming and going. My team is 60 strong. So
okay,
there's that. And then, all the stakeholders.
Yes. Yeah, so that's a lot of people you're juggling, a lot of opinions.
As well. Look, we're very fortunate in Darwin to have very collaborative enterprise there. So
that's good.
Defence, Navy, the public servants, the trades folks, ourselves, we all work really closely. Because at the end of the day, if the maintenance doesn't go the way it needs to and the ship's crew don't do the training or the quals or whatever, they're not available. So if everything doesn't come together, then we don't get what Navy need, which is boat to sea.
Yeah, I can completely see how that would work. So does that mean, so do you work in the office, or are you ever sort of on site as well? Do you sort of get moved around depending on, what vessels you guys are looking after, or locations for, where you're building, that sort of thing?
Yep. So we have permanent presence in our administration facility in the city, and then we have a permanent presence at Coonawarra. So
Okay.
Coonawarra is quite fortunate to have its own dockyard, as well as a couple of wharves where the boats do their in-water stuff. We send teams wherever they're needed is the short answer.
Yeah.
And it depends what role you are within the organisation, sort of how much time you spend at the coalface, so to speak.
Yeah.
Versus, bashing the keyboard and ringing the subbies and whatnot. So, yeah, it's a great dynamic. It's a very agile team. They do lots of different things. They come and go. The pace that they work at is admirable, I must say.
Do you think, if you had to sort of pick between the maritime space or doing more the construction side of things, do you have a favourite?
That's a tough one. Look, infrastructure was my heartland for a long time.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy maritime, though. It's got its own unique challenges and its own unique rewards. It's like picking a favourite child. You don't want to tell my boat children that actually infrastructure is my favourite. But no, I find that every space that I work in brings something new to me. So I enjoy the challenges that are in front of me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, completely makes sense. And I'm sure if you throw aviation in the mix too, it'd be even harder to pick.
Yes, yeah.
So, completely get it. And look, something that you touched on before that I think is worth mentioning, you said sort of diversity in the workplace is important. And I want to know, what does diversity in the workplace sort of mean to you? And have you seen any positive shifts since you first started your career to now across all these industries, whether it be aviation, construction, defence focused?
Yes, there's definitely been growth. There has definitely been changes in attitudes. I remember my first ever day of job hunting in Darwin. I rolled into a charter company with my CV in my hand, and I kid you not, they were like, "We don't hire women pilots." And I was like,
No.
I stepped back in time.
Really?
Thing. That was definitely an exception to the rule, and they had some internal things that were going on. So it was just the wrong person on the wrong day, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've seen, and this was like 20 plus years ago. So over the years, there's definitely been some behavioural shifts, and a lot of the people who maybe couldn't change have subsequently sort of retired or gone
Left
on
the
to
industry
different things
now.
or whatever. I find there are still significant challenges getting ladies into certain places, like on the tools direct.
Yep.
But even that's there's a big push for it now, which is encouraging. So I think the drive to get girls at school and really open their eyes to different careers is bearing fruit now. So we have a solid handful of lady tradies on site, fabricators and welders and things like that, which is really pleasing to see. I think the efforts that were made in terms of driving female presences in defence industry are broadly have borne fruit. Like there's a lot of places where there's 50-50 or even, tip the balance the other way. Spaces, particularly in more office-bound roles.
Yep.
It doesn't even matter. Like that, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman or whatever doing the project management, for instance. So that's really pleasing to see. What we need to do is make sure that they keep progressing so that those that balance and that diversity keeps growing up the chain.
Yeah.
And both up the chain and then into other areas where maybe progress is a little bit slower.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you say, you know, kids in schools, I think that's a common theme a few people have talked about before as well, because it's, you know, whether it's aviation, whether it's maritime, whether it's anything in defense, I think a lot of kids don't realize that this is an industry that you can consider. You know, there's so many other things that are thrown at you before you think,
And there's,
I want to be a chippy or, you know, I mean, like they're obviously like construction jobs and things like that. Absolutely. Like my amazing partner, he works, he's a builder, and there's a few girls on his team, which is awesome to see that there are going to be some more tradie ladies around.
yes.
But I mean, you don't think I could be a welder on a maritime boat. You
No,
know what I mean?
To be honest, a lot of those more traditional trades have fallen out of favor or popularity or whatever you like. I find that there's a big push going on at the moment with, you know, the submarines and the Hunter class and a few other bits and pieces, trying to reinvigorate shipbuilding and the maritime industry in general, because the requirement for some of those base trades, those core trades, is going to be significant in the coming decades. If you become qualified as a marine grade welder or fabricator tomorrow, you will have a job for your whole career.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the way the Australia wants to go with their shipbuilding. And that obviously flows through to maintenance and all kinds of other areas. So
yeah, absolutely. I know workforce obviously is such a big issue in defence at the moment because we just need a lot more people.
yes, yep. And it's not just girls. There's so many untapped markets out there, and I think it's the onus is on the current incumbents that are kicking around in industry who have the power to influence to go forth and tap on those markets and encourage people who haven't previously had either a pathway or had the seeds planted in their brains or whatever to go, oh, actually, this is something that I might want to have a go at.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been a part of any sort of diversity or inclusion programs in the past years across different sectors?
Many.
Yeah, okay, I thought
so. And to be honest, whilst it's great to be asked to do these kinds of things, sometimes you're like, oh, again, we're doing this again. But it always comes back to, well, okay, we are doing it again because we need to keep doing it until it just becomes normal. So,
exactly. Yeah, unfortunately, it is one of those things where you just have to keep doing it for it to make a slight impact.
And I've done lots of mentoring. I've done lots of careers talks or interacting with students, be they school students or university students or whatever, and really taking the time to have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
Whether it's exchanging stories or shooting the breeze about problems they're having, sitting down at industry panels and sharing experiences, every little bit of conversation or information sharing, you never know what impact that's going to have to somebody, whether they're already in industry or thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, touching on mentors, things like that, what role have mentors, you know, sponsors or whatever you want to call it, what role has that played in your journey?
So in my early years, I had a couple of informal mentors, I guess, people that I looked up to or aspired to be or whatever. As my career has progressed and sort of mentoring became fashionable, I guess, I have had a couple of formal people step into that space, and I find that you get something out of each different person depending on their relationship to you, their relationship with the rest of the organisation that they're in, or even outside folks, so to speak. And I've also had the baton passed to me in terms of going forth and doing that kind of thing, both for males and females across the years. And I find it a really valuable experience for both the mentor and the mentee, and then also what we call the sponsor or the sponsee. It's not very good English, is it?
We get what you mean. Don't worry about it.
And I think it's important for everybody who's sort of coming to the realization that they might want to have those conversations to actually go forth and ask for them. Because most people, if you come to them and say, hey, I'd really like to have a structured mentorship or sponsorship or what have you, and talk about my career and, bounce ideas around, exchange problems, that kind of thing, most people will be like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
That's actually sort of what I was going to ask is, what does a mentorship program look like? Because I know it can mean different things.
So there's lots of different mentoring programs, depending on whether it's an organisational based one versus an educational based one. So I've done mentoring for AIPM, for instance, Australian Institute of Project Managers.
Okay, fabulous.
I've done mentoring for Charles Darwin University on their Women in STEM program.
Yep,
I've done
beautiful.
Mentoring within a couple of organisations that I've worked for. So employees that have either reported to me or have been in similar streams as me. So it really does depend on the context. And there's also the difference between mentoring and sponsoring. So mentoring is very much helping somebody to grow in their career, to think about their choices or help them through their challenges or whatever. Sponsorship is more about having those encouraging conversations, like facilitating people to choose actions for themselves, if you like. But also being those people that roll into a room that you're not present in and being like, this person would be great for that opportunity because blah.
Yeah.
So, really shining the spotlight on behalf of the individual.
Is there any sort of standout moments for you that popped to your mind, whether you were the mentee or the mentor in that sort of journey for you?
I think I find it really rewarding when somebody that you've had a conversation with or, shared a journey with has grown into their own.
That's lovely.
I've been absolute privileged to see a couple of young ladies that I mentored years and years ago who are now in leadership roles and who have gone leaps and bounds in their career. And I'm like, yeah, I helped that happen,
That's fantastic.
So yeah, that's very, very rewarding for
me.
Are
you still in touch with any of them?
Yeah,
Plenty
of them. Yeah. Sometimes it's just like once a quarter or once a year even.
Yeah.
But it's great to catch up and they're always so happy to share, this is what I've been doing and blah. It's fantastic.
I think it's great because it just takes one person willing to give up a bit of their time to help someone, that it can just, it's a bit of a domino effect, isn't it? And then I'm sure that these amazing women that you've done that for are then going to turn around and go, this helped me so much in my career, I want to give back as well. But, helping people, being a mentor, I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah. And, I'm hoping that one day somebody will do the same for my kids.
Exactly. Now, speaking of your kids, I was very keen to ask you, and I love to ask this question to lots of working mums, is how do you find navigating and balancing a demanding career with also work-life balance with the kids?
It's a big challenge,
yes.
And it's often a emotionally painful one because there is nobody who does guilt trips better than your kids.
Absolutely.
And I find that you need to forgive yourself a lot because particularly when your children are little and you might not make it to every assembly or every school pickup or whatever the case might be, and you're in the car, you're like, God, I'm an awful parent. Or conversely, you've left work early to go and do a school run. You're like, oh, I'm a rubbish employee.
Yeah, no.
So there's this real fine balancing act, and I can tell you for free, you will never please everybody ever. But the older your kids get, the more they tend to understand, and you need to make conscious choices about what's right for you and what's right for your circumstance. Where you choose to make choices. I say there are no sacrifices, just choices.
Choices. Okay.
So, like you can have anything you want, just not all at once.
That's a really good way of looking at it, perspective-wise.
Yeah. So I've definitely had those moments where I've cried over being a really terrible mother for not coming to the assembly, and I've also had those moments where I'm like, oh, am I being judged for leaving the office?
Honestly, but the thing is, it's just, I feel like everyone goes through that. Everyone who has kids, my mum said the same exact thing when we were growing up. She tried to make it to every single assembly, but same thing. And then she's like, God, I look bad at work now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And
like you said, it's give and take.
And
it is.
Where you can, you just need to tell the story that's yours. So where your kids are old enough, mature enough, you have the conversation with them. Like, sorry, I can't come. I've got an important meeting. We'll do some family time at another point, or whatever the case might be. My kids are teenagers now, and when I took my current job, I sat them down and had the conversation like, this new opportunities come up, it'll mean this, that and the other, and they were like, oh, go for it, Mum,
because at that age they just start getting it.
So as you move through your life, those conversations and balances change, and I think you need to absolutely forgive yourself, but you also need to communicate with your family and your work colleagues about what you need out of any given scenario. I was very fortunate when my children were little to have bosses that understood, that I said, look, I'm a single mum. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. I'll make it up, on the laptop at home, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to be in a position with the job I was in at the time to facilitate that outcome. And I think Australia holistically has more than enough employment for people, if it's not working out in the role they're in, to go and find something where they can make a situation that's right for them and their current context. Yeah, if that makes sense. And I pay it forward now. I've got a bunch of people that need flexibility for various different reasons. They've got an elderly parent they're caring for, or a spouse that needs help, or young kids they need school runs for. So wherever I can, I facilitate, that flexibility for them as well, because I know it pays massive dividends.
Yeah.
Massive.
You're going to get so much more out of someone that works for you if you're doing the small things, like saying, go do the school pickup. It just changes everything, doesn't it? It's a weight off your mind instead of having to theoretically then organise people to go pick up your kids and then do after school care, and then you still have to go pick them up, and then who's going to do it's just so many different bits and bobs, isn't it? Yeah,
and I find that encouragingly more and more blokes are coming forward and being like, I need to do the school run.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, crack on, man.
Absolutely.
Because that facilitates success in their spouses' careers as well. Yep. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to see that. They might be teachers, they might be, I don't know, office workers of a different kind. But at the end of the day, it's lifting everybody up. So
it helps. It's a win-win-win at the end of the day.
That's right.
And look, it's hard being a super mum, and there's so many awesome super mums that have been on the podcast talking about their experience with, just balancing career and work-life balance. But also I think a significant part of that, and something I wanted to touch on, was managing mental health in high-pressure situations and also high-pressure industries, because I think that defence is a very important industry, but I think it can be a little bit of an intense one at times.
It is. And I have definitely had situations over the years where I've just cried myself to sleep because it's all too hard.
Yeah.
And I think actually, openly admitting that is half the battle sometimes.
Yeah.
Because people have these perceptions that others around them, particularly in positions of authority, have just got it nailed. They've got life sorted. They're acing life.
Yeah.
Where that is not necessarily the case.
No.
The facade is intact. So again, with experience comes a level of maturity that you need to have that self-awareness where, actually I'm struggling. I need a timeout. I need to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. I need to take a mental health day. I need to, leave my job because, the culture's not right for me or whatever the case might be. I think that it's really important that people take the time to do a bit of self-reflection on their mental health. And I also think it's really important that you encourage a cultural atmosphere in your workplace where it's okay to be like, hey, Tash, you're looking a bit stressed, mate. Are you okay? Because that kind of a simple question can change somebody's life, literally. Taking
100% agree.
Taking the time to just checking in.
Yeah, I 100% agreed. And it's actually, I know when this goes out, it'll be long past, but Are You OK Day is this Thursday.
That's right.
It's a great opportunity. I 100% agree. I think that, some people fly under the radar, and just having a conversation with someone saying, how's work going? How are you coping with your workload? Things outside of work. I think it can open up a can of worms, and people don't really realise when other people are struggling.
Yeah, and the warning signs are always there. People just slightly different behaviours or wearing slightly different expressions on their face on a day-to-day basis, not turning up for things. It's all these little bits and pieces that tend to add up. And conversely, really appreciating when the workload is a little bit lower, actually taking some breathing space, saying, hey, we're a bit quiet. Do you want to take some leave? Do you want to knock off a bit earlier? Why don't you just, go and have a chill afternoon?
Go have a glass of wine, put your feet up and watch some trashy TV.
That's right.
And sometimes that's just the medicine you need.
Go and squeeze in an episode of Utopia to really relate to defence industry.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. I think it's, you need that balance of, work-life balance with your career, but also just making sure you're looking after yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're not looking after yourself, it's not going to help you in your work. It's not going to help anyone around you, is it? I think just sometimes you need to be selfish and know when you need to take a break.
That's right. And a few years ago, again, swinging back to kids being the best guilt trippers.
Oh, yes. Do tell.
A few years ago, I got a call from my mum, who loves to ring during the day because she's retired. And she said to me, she's like, Cooper just rang me. Cooper's one of my sons. He's really worried about you. He says you're working too much. I was like,
oh, bless.
Am I?
Oh,
and
that's so lovely.
It is. But it was also like, kids notice, they notice how much you're working and how stressed you are and whatever. And that's a really good barometer. And it's not just kids, it's, your spouses and your family and your friends. If they say to you, geez, you're looking tired or busy or whatever, maybe take, am I?
Yeah.
Do I need to slow down?
Exactly.
Because sometimes you're so in the zone that you just don't realise how much energy you're pouring into what is effectively just a paycheck.
You know, and one of my friends says this as well. She's like, well, what I'm specifically doing for our career, like, you know, doing podcasts and selling media and things like that. She's like, at the end of the day, we aren't saving lives. So if you need to take an afternoon off,
yes,
it's going to be okay. And when you put things into perspective, just as simple, you know, if you sometimes think, oh, it's the end of the world if I don't send this email by close of business. If it's 4:55, I can guarantee you that person's not reading it or replying till tomorrow morning anyway.
Yes. So. I think it's important to bring that context to your own role. I mean, what we do is absolutely critical to Defence's mission, you know, and that's really rewarding in its own right. But
yeah,
there's 60 of us. So, like, hey, you know, John, Greg, Charmaine, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you could do this task for me? I need some time. You know, I'm on leave or I don't want to.
It's all about that teamwork. You know, when one of you needs to be, you know, someone can rise up and do a little bit more and then vice versa when someone else needs it.
Yeah, and manage expectations. Hey, client, do you really need this thing today? How about tomorrow or next week? You know, just
100%.
Communication goes a very long way in this world that we live in, particularly when people just punch out their email and arbitrarily pick a date for something with zero thought or consideration of what you might have on your plate. Sometimes just replying back, hey, I've got a lot on. Could we push this?
Yeah.
You know, making some space for yourself.
I fully agree. And look, if you don't ask, you don't get, do you?
That's right.
So
yeah.
Sometimes you just need to ask.
People, they have very little awareness of other people's workloads and you know, task lists and what they've got going on. Humans are very selfish creatures. But again, humans, for the most part, are very empathetic creatures too. So just have the conversation. You know?
Just people understand once you talk to them, or most people. I mean, you will come across the odd few that are quite nasty or grumpy.
Yes.
But for the most part, people understand.
They really do, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, so we are unfortunately getting to the end of the show. However, at the end of every single episode, I like to ask the guests that we have on at the time, if you could give us one short insight or piece of advice that you would like to leave with our listeners. And then we usually put the little quote on our little boards. We'll get a little photo at the end. But yes, and I know I've put you on the spot, but if you had to think of an insight or piece of advice, whether it be to someone now or you know, someone starting out in the industry, whatever you'd like.
Look, I fairly often give this same piece of advice, particularly to people who approach me with do you think I should have a go at this question? And my answer is yes, if you want to. Absolutely, have a crack.
Have a go.
Have a crack. Like, if you think you've got even half the criteria that it's asking for and you're excited about it, go and knock on the door. Because chances are, if you have that conversation and you show the right attitude, people will be willing to give you a chance. I've had so many opportunities in my career where I've, you know, gone and bounced off my mentor or my friend or whatever and been like, hey, do you think I can do this? And 99.9% of the time they're like, yeah. Have a go, have a crack. Like, if you're excited about something and you want to get into it, then get into it. You know, find a way.
Fantastic.
Ring the people.
I
knock
love
on
that.
the door.
And you know what? Someone else also said, you know, sometimes you look at like a job application and, you know, you don't necessarily meet every single part of the criteria. And a lot of people go, okay, well, I don't meet it then. But I think you're right, though, in saying if you have the right attitude and you tick most of the boxes and you really want to do it,
yeah,
you're right.
Find a way. Pick up the phone.
Do it. Just
The,
introduce yourself.
Yeah, that's right. The old, just put a CV out and hope for the best. That will not bear fruit.
No.
If you want something bad enough, you need to go knock on the doors. You need to draw on your networks. You need to pick up the phones. You need to find an in.
Yeah.
Whether it's through education, whether it's through we've got lots of trainees on our staff.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer in bringing people in and learning them up. Finding an avenue that will facilitate the goal that you are after, even if you have to, start at the bottom or take a sideways step, whatever. If you're excited to get into an industry or a job or a what have you,
Yep.
there's almost always a way.
Fabulous. No, I love it. That's a great way to sort of leave it on there. And look, thank you so much, Georgia, for joining me on the podcast.
No problems.
Your insights have been incredible, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode featuring more incredible voices and amazing stories from women in the defence industry.